Lamberton is a small American town.
It's a sunny, woodsy day in Lamberton, so get those chainsaws out.
An idyllic picture of an ordinary American family. An elderly married couple serenely greets a beautiful morning. She drinks coffee and watches an action-packed movie on TV. He waters the grass in the yard of their house. The water pressure suddenly begins to interrupt, and at this time the man falls unconscious, clutching his neck. Jeffrey Beaumont visits his father in the hospital, who is now unable to speak. Jeffrey's way back home took him through a field in the suburbs. He stops at an abandoned house. He bends down to pick up a stone to throw it and sees a human ear in the grass. Jeffrey finds a paper bag nearby and puts his ear in it. Jeffrey comes to the Lamberton police.
Williams still working here?
He asks Inspector John Williams and goes to his office.
You did?
Showed him the ear, which Williams hands over to medical
Let's
experts.
take a look at it.
The expert determined the gender and blood type, reported that the ear was cut off with scissors. The man is still alive because there is no one in the morgue with one ear. The police began their investigation from the place where the ear was found. Jeffrey went for a walk late in the evening.
Is Detective Williams
He
here?
visits the home of Inspector John Williams, who lives not far from their
Right now,
house.
though, I can't.
Inspector Williams asks Jeffrey not to tell anyone anything and also not to ask anything. In time, he will tell Jeffrey the details. Jeffrey continues his walk and unexpectedly meets Sandy Williams, the daughter of Inspector Williams. She heard a conversation with a detective in which the name of the singer Dorothy Valance, who lives in the same area near the field where Jeffrey found the ear, was mentioned. Sandy also said that this singer has already been under surveillance for 2 months. Jeffrey asked to show the singer's house, a gloomy building in which the singer lives on the 7th floor. Jeffrey stays in town to help his parents work at the store.
They're on the bottom.
How many fingers?
4!
I still don't know how you do that.
Jeffrey comes to school to pick up Sandy to talk about his ideas. Over dinner, he invites Sandy to help him break into the singer's apartment.
It's necessary to take a risk.
In order to understand the connection between the singer and the found ear.
Are you crazy? Jeffrey, she's possibly involved.
Sandy is scared, but still decides to help Jeffrey.
Oh, Sandy, let's just try the first part.
Jeffrey changes into overalls and, with an insect sprayer, goes up to the 7th floor.
Good luck yourself.
The door was opened by Dorothy Valance. She let Jeffrey in to sanitize the apartment. Sandy was supposed to call in a few minutes and distract Dorothy Valance. There was a knock on the door, but it was someone familiar to Dorothy. This time was enough for Jeffrey to pick up the keys. Sandy canceled her date in order to help Jeffrey out that evening.
Try to find out where Dorothy Valance sings.
I already know. I'll walk over to your house. I'll be there at 8 o'clock. Okay?
They came together to the club where Dorothy Valance performs.
The Blue Lady, Miss Dorothy Valance.
When When she took the stage, Jeffrey and Sandy left to do what they had planned.
I don't want to see you tomorrow. Mike's coming.
Sandy stayed in the car to
I'm gonna
signal
wait here
Jeffrey
until she
when
comes.
Dorothy returned home.
I'm gonna honk 4 times.
Jeffrey enters Dorothy's apartment, starts exploring the rooms. After some time, Dorothy arrives, but Jeffrey did not hear Sandy's signals. He had to hide in the clothes closet.
Yes, sir. Frank? Frank, let
At
me
this
talk
time, the phone rings.
Frank!
From
what's the matter
Dorothy's
with it?
conversation on the phone, Jeffrey understands that Frank, who is calling, is holding Dorothy's husband and son hostage. Dorothy hears a suspicious noise in the closet, takes a knife, and discovers Jeffrey.
Jeffrey Beaumont. What are you doing in my apartment, Jeffrey Beaumont?
She orders Jeffrey to undress.
Get undressed. I want to see you.
Look, I'm sorry, just let me leave.
No way! I want to see you. Get undressed!
The young body excites
What do
Dorothy.
you want?
She begins to caress Jeffrey. At the moment of highest excitement, there is a knock on the door. Jeffrey is hiding in the closet. Frank comes in. For Frank in the apartment, Dorothy creates a gloomy atmosphere by turning off the lamp and lighting a candle. Frank drinks whiskey and rudely orders Dorothy to fulfill his every desire. Dorothy is forced to comply. He instills fear and threatens her. Demonstrates his power over her. Frank physically and psychologically rapes Dorothy. Causes her physical pain and emotional suffering, Dorothy is in a hopeless situation. After Frank leaves, Jeffrey tries to help Dorothy, while Dorothy went to the bath.
Hi, Sandy, can you talk?
Jeffrey tells Sandy that he is sure that Frank cut off Dorothy's husband's ear and is holding him and his son hostage. He does this so that Dorothy will fulfill all his desires.
It is a strange world.
Hi. May I come in? It's not crazy.
A love relationship begins between Dorothy and Jeffrey.
Be with me. Be with me, please.
He comes to the club to follow Frank.
Blue velvet.
Find out where Frank lives, and he begins to follow, photographing everyone Frank meets.
You like mysteries that much?
Yeah. Now the yellow man go into
A drug
Frank's
dealer
house.
with whom Frank is associated is murdered.
And these two guys. You're a mystery. Like you.
Dorothy is happy to host Jeffrey.
Are you a bad boy?
What do you mean?
I'm not crazy.
He gives her hope and strength to withstand the horror of what is happening to her.
I know the difference between right and wrong. You lied to me?
During their next date, Frank appears with his friends.
Hey, you want to go for a ride?
Thanks.
Frank forcibly takes Dorothy and Jeffrey with him. Along the way, they all mock Jeffrey and threaten to kill
Friend
him.
of mine. Hey, Raymond, you get enough beer for Ben, too.
Altogether, they come to Ben, with whom Frank is keeping his husband and son Dorothy.
Gone tomorrow.
Did he hurt your little face?
No! Honey, Mama loves you. No.
Frank allows Dorothy to see her son and then leaves with his entire
We're
company.
giving our neighbor a joyride. Let's get on with it. Bye, Ben.
They drive out of town, where they severely beat Jeffrey and abandon him.
Hey, leave her alone.
Jeffrey decides to tell Inspector Williams everything.
Jeffrey, what do you mean you're lucky to be able to call me?
At the police station, he meets Detective Gordon, who works for Frank. Jeffrey quickly leaves the police and comes home to Inspector Williams in the evening.
Sorry to bother you, but I need to talk to you.
He shows all the photographs and leaves them to the inspector.
Good night, Detective Williams.
On Friday, Jeffrey asks Sandy out on a date. They arrive together at a party where Sandy's classmates have gathered. When they left, a car began to follow them. It turned out that it was Sandy's friend who wanted to beat up Jeffrey.
Stole my girl, you bastard. Now I'm gonna kick your ass. Come on. Right here.
At this moment, a naked and bloody Dorothy comes out of the house. She is terribly scared and rushes into Jeffrey's arms. They called an ambulance and took her to the clinic. Jeffrey called Sandy and said he was going to Dorothy's apartment and asked for the police to be sent there.
He said someone was hurt and he wants Detective Williams there.
In Dorothy's apartment, Jeffrey discovers Ben and Gordon killed. Jeffrey decides to leave, but from the window he saw that Frank had arrived here. He returned to the apartment and hid there. Frank is looking for Jeffrey throughout the apartment. Jeffrey managed to take the gun from the dead Gordon. And when Frank approaches Jeffrey's closet, he shoots him in the forehead.
It's all over, Jeffrey.
A happy ending to this creepy thriller. Jeffrey and Sandy together.
Underworld, isn't it?